Which Sun Belt coaches are under the most pressure heading into the 2026 season? Locked on Sun Belt.
You are Locked on Sun Belt, your daily podcast on the Sun Belt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another edition of Locked on Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code Locked On to get $10 when you trade $10. All right, before we go into the different categories of this topic, well, I need everybody to know everybody's under the pressure. Some more than others, but everybody's under a certain amount of pressure. That's college football for you, all right? Things can go the wrong way fast. So we understand that there's pressure on everybody. However, out of the 14 coaches, I got a list here of 5. There's no pressure at all. All right, we're not even going to, I'm going to list them and we're going to bypass them, all right, because there's just no pressure at all, so to speak, right? Nothing's going to happen if these guys don't win this year. If the bottom falls out, all bets are off. But nothing's going to go on here if Ryan Beard doesn't go to a bowl game. Disappointing? Sure. Nothing's going to happen to Blake Anderson. He's coming back next year. Ricky Ronnie, the same thing. ODU, okay? Butch Jones, Arkansas State, he's probably coming back as well. And Sonny Cumbie got off the schneid last year, had a winning record. I don't think he's going anywhere either. Okay. So that's where we have Ryan Beard, Coastal, Blake Anderson, Southern Miss, Ricky Ronnie, ODU, Butch Jones, Arkansas State, Sonny Cumbie, La Tech. All right. So those guys are under no real pressure. We could stick them into different categories that I'm going to be doing here, but for the most part, no pressure the way I'm looking at it. Okay. So the first group that we're going to go over after that, technically the second group, but they're the ones without the pressure. These guys have to win. All right. And we're not doing this with visual aids. So you're going to have to use your imagination if you are watching on the YouTubes. If you're listening, you got that imagination going under otherwise. All right. We've been talking about this for the better part of the year. Dell McGee at Georgia State has to win. It is going into year number 3. Year number 1, got a redshirt year, got worse in year number 2. And he's got to show a little progress. Does he have to get to a bowl game? Probably not. But he better get close. He better get 4 or 5 wins. Because if he comes back and they get 3 wins or less, I can't imagine he's coming back for a 4th season. It just didn't work out, right? Some guys are good at coordinator or position coach, and some guys are head coaches, and maybe some guys need a second chance. But he needs to win this year. All right. And he's got a quarterback that could lead them to some victories. Got to get a stop somewhere along the way defensively. But Dell McGee needs to win. All right. Somebody who you wouldn't think would be on this list in year number 2 is App State's Dowell Loggains. And I'm a big fan of Dowell Loggains. I like what he did this year at Sunbelt. It was a little much from last year. Admitted that he was nervous during Sunbelt Media Days in 2025. But he has to apparently win because, again, when you get it from more than one source, that he just hasn't connected with the Boone community, right? And that's what it is. It is a community compared to, say, Louisville here, all right? Where Jeff Brom, I mean, his whole family's on the coaching staff, and he's from here, and, you know, everything played here. All right. That's different. That's connecting with the fan base. But Boone is a community. It's a small community. And they're passionate about their football. And they're not going to like it if it's a stepping stone, which we all understand Sunbelt sports are basically stepping stones. So we get that. All right. Even App State fans understand. But sometimes you don't have to make it so blatant. And I've heard that he kind of treats it like NFL because that's where he wants to be. That's where he sort of came from. And that's what he wants to be. He wants to be a coach in the NFL. But he needs to connect with the community. Does he have to win big this year? No, but he needs to win big enough to get to a bowl game. Because I was told if he doesn't get to maybe even 7 wins, he may be out. Because he didn't make any allies of the people he needs to make allies from. And that's very different in college football than it is in pro football. Pro football, you only need 1 or 2 allies. That's called the general manager and or the owner. And sometimes the owner covers for the coach because he likes him. A lot of times the AD can't cover for you. All right. Or the president cannot cover for you. You need to you need a glad hand. All right. You need to be able to do that. And you need to have some patience in Boone, North Carolina. But when you don't make those allies, patience can run thin. So he needs to win because he needs to save his job. All right. They're not going to let him go if he goes 7-5. But basically the way it's coming off to me is that people are looking for a reason to get rid of him, which is not great because I'm a big Dowell Loggains fan. All right. The other person on this list, I don't necessarily think he belongs on this list, that he has to win, is Major Applewhite with South Alabama. All right. Couple of different things have gone on here. Obviously, Kane Womack, kind of the cupboard was bare. Gio Lopez got hurt. They ended up winning a bowl game without his wide receiver, his running back, and his quarterback, who was hurt. Then Gio Lopez is coming back, and then he wasn't. And so now we're switching quarterbacks from the end of spring football to the beginning of fall football. And it was another up and down season. Again, I don't think he has to win. They got a new AD in Daniel McCarthy. So that could happen. It's got a lot like Hudspeth, who was in there with the new AD of the Cajuns, who's moved on to Missouri, where he waited a year and Hud didn't win. And it kind of, a lot of stuff happened off the field. But I'm not sure Major's on this list, except I've heard from people that he needs to win, but it's not the best year to do that. So we'll see what happens. All right. It's been the portal has just crushed South Alabama, just crushed the Jaguars. So again, he went to a bowl game his first year. And again, the issue with the quarterback last year. So we'll see if Bishop Davenport can pick it up a little bit. And again, they can get some defensive stops. That offensive line is healthy. They may win a little bit in South Alabama. They may win a little bit in Mobile. All right. Now we're going to get to the guys that, quote, need to win, probably to appease the fan base more than their jobs. We'll do that when I come back after I tell you about Kelce. Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season end? On Kelce, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Can the Jacksonville Jaguars, people are touting the Jaguars, can they win at least 9 games this season? They're currently trading at a 60% probability, or maybe just a little bit over that, meaning $100 trade pays out $162 if they reach 9 wins or more. Someone I saw had the Jaguars as the #2 seed in the AFC, winning 12 ball games. Whoa. On Kelce, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kelce. Download the Kelce app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. KALSHI, Kelce. Trade on anything. 18 and over only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kelce products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kelce.com/regulatory. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, so these coaches, under the pressure of they need to win, but it's more for the fan bases than it is for anybody else. All right, and we're going to say because these guys could or could not be gone. All right, and I hate putting it that way. All right, and we can start out with Mike Desormeaux for the Cajuns, and they're already banged up. Lost 2 wide receivers so far. I think a linebacker's banged up. Quarterback just got hurt. Everyone's out 4 to 6 weeks. So they could all be healthy for the Sun Belt. Mike has been to a bowl game every year. Hasn't won a bowl game, including last year against Delaware. Did win 10 ball games, played in the Sun Belt Championship with his second, third, and fourth string quarterbacks in that game. Tough to win that ball game. All right. I think he did an outstanding coaching job last year when he was down again to his third string quarterback, by the way. Coming back in a huge win against Marshall, losing maybe 3 in a row, and then reeling off 4 wins to win 6 ball games and get to a bowl game. He did a tremendous job last year when it really could have been a career-defining season going the wrong way. Now they're banged up. They do have a quarterback, though. They do have Lunch Winfield. And they probably will. They have an offensive line that should be able to run block. We'll see if they can pass block. And they always will have some running backs. They always do. All right. The Cajuns want more, though. Cajuns fans want more. That's the only problem. All right. And sometimes 8-4 ain't good enough for Cajuns fans. That's going to be a pretty good year for the Cajuns this year. Their schedule is just not that hard. And if they can get some of these guys back, they can really compete in the Sun Belt. But if it turns into be one of those blasé deals again, and remember the Cajuns are going to hire a new AD. We'll see if that happens as well. So I don't think he's going anywhere. And again, if the bottom falls out of any of these schools, who knows what can happen. But I think Desormeaux, he absolutely, thinks he needs to win for the fans. All right. The other one that needs to win a little bit is Bryant Vincent. But he's not going anywhere at ULM, probably because of the money. Now you got a new AD there, right? Bryant Vincent was the AD as an interim, and then S.J. Chewy has come in, and has taken over as, I believe, the youngest AD in FBS athletics. And so Bryant Vincent needs to win just to show something. Now, he has won a little bit, right? He won 5 out of his first games as head coach of ULM and went on a 6-game losing streak. Won 3 out of 4 last year and then is now riding an 8-game losing streak. So he needs to win. It'd be nice to get to a bowl game. If we can find, I don't know if we can find 6 wins for the ULM football schedule. What do we need? 6 wins? Let's see. So Mississippi State 0-1. Let's say they beat UAB. That's 2. That's 1-1. They beat Southeastern. That's 2-1. So they lose to Mississippi State. They beat UAB. That's 1-1. They beat Southeastern. That's 2-1. Say they beat FAU. That's 3-1. All right. They're at South Alabama. We'll call that a loss because it's on the road. That's 3-2. La Tech at home. We'll give them that one just because it's at home. I mean, that's 4-2. They're at Troy. That's 4-3. Southern Miss is a win at home. That's 5. They're at Arkansas State. That'll be a loss. And then they get the Cajuns. And then they're at App State and they're home versus Marshall. That is a brutal last 3. All right. So the possibilities are there. All right. Now, are they going to be favored in these ball games? We'll see. But you can see them winning. You can see them getting to 5 or 6 wins. All right. Not going to be easy at the end, but you got 5 or 6 wins. All right. The other one, and this is, again, about the fans, because he always seems to get to a bowl game, is Clay Helton. Seems to dig himself into a hole, seems to dig himself out of it at Georgia Southern. But again, this is a team and a program that's used to winning championships, not going 7-5 or 6-6. You got Max Johnson, who, if he stays healthy, can absolutely lead this team to contend in the East. Got to get some stops. That seems to be a key theme here in the Sun Belt for teams that tend to put up a lot of points, but can't seem to get stops at the right time. So those are the guys that really need to win to appease the fan base more than anything else. I don't think they're going anywhere if they have slightly off seasons. Now, unfortunately, an off season at ULM is 2-10, but I don't think they have the money to go get new coaching staff. So that's the reality there. I don't think he's going to go 2-10, but I think if he can get close to a bowl game, he'll be in good shape there. All right. So that's Desormeaux with the Cajuns, Clay Helton with Georgia Southern, and Bryant Vincent with ULM that kind of need to win more for the fan bases. All right. Now the guys, we said the ones that aren't under pressure. Not really. These guys really are not under pressure. They're under pressure, but for different reasons. We'll do it that way. All right. We'll say that way. All right. We'll do that when we come back after I thank you guys. All right. Thank you so much for being there. Lots of comments. Apparently, we're doing good topics because we've had lots of comments here over the last handful of episodes. So I appreciate that. And then when I do get the chance, and I get yelled at work for being on the phone, when I do get the chance to answer them, it is me, although it does say Locked On Sunbelt. That's me. So I appreciate all the comments. Keep them coming. When you do see these episodes online, please share those videos, share those links. It's a big help. We're trying to grow. We're back up to 3146 in subscribers. It's going to be tough to get to that 3,200 here in about 2 weeks. So that's probably not going to happen. But we'd like to get close as possible. All right. So please subscribe right here on YouTube, Locked On Sunbelt, or subscribe on the audio podcast, Apple and Spotify. If you are interested in sponsorships, please get back to me. I'll be glad to point you in the right direction. All right. Let's continue on with the three coaches that there's pressure, but for different reasons. All right. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right. So the coach that's got maybe the most pressure here, but only because of what happened last year, right? Nothing's going to happen to him. I don't think he's going to have a bad year, but he's only going to have a bad year based on what happened last year. And that's Billy Napier with the JMU Dukes, right? I mean, if he goes 8-4 or 9-4, which is, by the way, what Bob Chesney did in his first year, it's a disappointing season because the last guy, Chesney, went to the college football playoff. So there's a certain amount of pressure, not to mention that I think Coastal Carolina would have played in the Sun Belt Championship 3 out of the last 4 years. The only one was the Marshall year where, well, they should have played in that one, but they lost to Marshall in the final game of the year. But they couldn't under Coach Cignetti because they were still moving up to FBS. But that's how good they've been, right? And so there's that pressure with Billy Napier coming off of what was not successful in Gainesville, and they're still crushing them there in Gainesville. He was very good with the Cajuns, needs to be good with JMU. So there's pressure only because of what happened before with the other coaches and him at Florida. That's where the pressure's coming from. All right. It'll come from the fans because, again, they're used to winning. But, you know, the big pressure here is dealing with San Diego State and then playing ODU the next week and not having an off week until the second to last week of the year. That's where that pressure is going to come, where he's going to start to dial it back practice-wise in the middle of October because these guys aren't going to have their legs. You know, he's going to have to maybe do what Kurt Cignetti did, right? We're gonna have 1.5 hour practices. We're cutting practices short. right? We'll have one big practice and then the rest will be walkthroughs, something different. All right. So that's where that pressure is. All right. Tony Gibson with Marshall. He's got the preseason offensive player of the year in Carlos Del Rio Wilson. He's got 2 offensive linemen on the preseason all Sunbelt team. He's got a wide receiver on the all preseason Sunbelt team, first teams. And he may have the best tight end in the Sunbelt. So there's pressure there. All right, so very different pressure from Dowell Loggains, who has to win because he didn't ingratiate himself into the Boone community. Marshall, Tony Gibson is all about West Virginia. He knows about the Marshall community. He could be like a Mike Desormeaux. Like if he wins at Marshall, he may not go anywhere. Right? He's been doing this for a long time. He may just decide, I like it here. They're going to pay me well. I can win, and I may just stick around. I don't need that big Power 4 check. Of course, it depends on how big the Power 4 check is, but that's a different story. So the pressure is there for Tony Gibson because of the high expectations. That's kind of what it is. All right. They got Carlos Del Rio Wilson back. They're going into Penn State. You know, they are, what do we say? They're 24.5 point underdogs. You can make a statement you can make a statement, losing 34-28. All right. However, if you go in and beat Penn State, then, you could be off to the races. Then everybody, first of all, you'll probably be in the top 25. That we won't worry about receiving votes or lost votes on that case. You'll be in the top 25. So that's where the pressure is on Tony Gibson, because a lot is expected this year. Not nearly what is expected. Well, much more is expected in Huntington than what is expected in Boone. All right. They want to be a bowl team in Boone, win 6-7 ball games. That'll bring Loggins back. Gibson, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. So the pressure is to win because the opportunity to win is there. I mean, I got fans. They could be delusional or not. Marshall could make a run to the college football playoff. You beat Penn State. We'll take just week 1 to do that. So there's that. So that's where that pressure is. And the other one, also based on expectations and the quarterback coming back, Gerad Parker with Troy. Played in the Sun Belt Championship last year. This is year number 3. And it's been, I'd say, a slow build. But it's been a slow build quickly because they're heading the wrong direction in year 1. They worked that out to finish up a little bit strong. I know the last game against the Cajuns didn't look good, but it was a 1-score game. They were headed to 1-3 or 1-4 last year, 1-3 last year. And they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter and ended up playing for the Sun Belt Championship game, a game in which they were in until late in the fourth quarter. So again, the pressure is there, probably internally and externally. Internally because of what they're bringing back, but externally because of what they did last year, what the basketball team did last year, and what the baseball team just did. So I should say last season, wasn't last year for the basketball team, what the football team did last year. So that's where that pressure is coming from. All right. And, these coaches know what they have. All right. Everyone talks a good game to begin with. Really, Blake Anderson, and he was maybe the most truthful, is like, I don't know, every position is up, for debate, and it's a competition, and hopefully we'll be competitive, which is, well, we probably don't have the talent to compete. Everyone else is kind of like, if we can stay healthy, we'll probably be pretty good. All right. Dowell Loggains got Malachi Singleton, so we'll see how that goes. We'll find out about, quarterbacks in Jonesboro and Coastal Carolina as it moves along, including, ODU. We think we know who that is going to be. But let me know what you guys think about where I have these coaches. So again, if I'm going down the list, because some of these coaches could be interchanged, right? Like like Ricky Ronnie could be in that last group, right? Like he's there because, they could win. There's pressure on him because they're expected to win, I guess would be the best way. But Ryan Beard, Blake Anderson, something like Butch Jones could be in a couple of different lists. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's built that program up to where they are competitive in the West, and he's done a good job there. And I don't think Sonny Cumbie is going anywhere with La Tech. Dell McGee has to win. Dowell Loggains has to win for different reasons than Dell McGee. Some people think that Major Applewhite has to win. That might be because of a new AD. But I think there's been situation out of his hands on why they haven't won quite as much as they would have liked. All right. Desormeaux has to win because the Cajuns fans need him to win more. But he's done a pretty good job there. Bryant Vincent needs to finish. We talked about that, right? It's year number 3. You need to start to compete for a bowl game. And Clay Helton, because Georgia Southern is used to winning championships, not being 6 or 7 wins sneaking into a bowl game. All right. Tony Gibson has to win and Marshall because of the expectations and of the way they played last year and everybody coming back. Napier's got to win at JMU. He's under pressure because of JMU is JMU. And they were in the playoff last year. And he's replacing, he's 2 coaches removed away from a coach that just won the national championship and another coach that just got to the playoff. So pretty good. And Gerad Parker is under pressure because of what he brings back, his quarterback, Goose Crowder, and what all the Troy teams did this past season, this past athletic calendar season. So there's internal and external pressures there. All right. So again, like a Ricky Ronnie could be in that last group because he's not going anywhere either, right? Nothing's going to happen to him. But he's under pressure to maybe finally win a division title and compete for a Sun Belt championship. There's that. But I put him in the other group. And you could put, some people would put Butch Jones in. He's got to win the West. I don't think he has to win because I don't think he's going anywhere. But you could put him in that Desormeaux, Clay Helton group that, maybe time for you to win a little bit more than you have been. All right. But he's got a new quarterback too. We'll see how that goes. And I think those last 3 are pretty good. Gibson because of everything that he's bringing back. Parker, the same reason. JMU. Napier's got to win just because of the kind of program that JMU has. And it's just expected. Right? So let me know what you guys think. And again, I do appreciate all of the comments. Please subscribe. And don't forget about those audio podcasts as well, Apple and Spotify. All right. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Please like and share every time you see this stuff on social media. It is a big, big help. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great Thursday, everybody. We will talk to you again on Friday.